But those officers in Washington, D.C. that I've had the privilege to work with almost every day, they are well trained to not to shoot first. They are well trained to know the people in their communities. They don't believe in, I'm going to shoot first and ask questions later. They don't operate like that. And I'm proud, and I will give the officers in Washington, D.C. that credit for that. And being a black woman,
that's right. And
when my brothers come in there, in the condition that they do come in there, on those drugs, violent, verbal and physical, stronger than ox, I want to commend those officers in D.C. for not having us nurses and healthcare providers trying to save their lives because they just shot them up. They don't do that. And I want to say that it's not a time that don't go by when the officers bring them in. You know what I say to them? Thank you for not killing him. Thank you so much for not killing him. And you know what they say to me? Why do I need to kill him? I know my job. Killing is not the answer. I'm bringing them in. We bring them in so they can get help. So if those officers in D.C. can do that, I'm going to make it nationwide, and I'm going to pass a policy. This I fear for your life, you better be able to justify it. And all officers will have body cam on them. Because I'm the last one to say and believe that I fear for your life, because I work with some of the best officers in Washington, D.C. And those officers, now, I can understand them fearing for their life when they bring them in, because I fear for my life too. But I know I've been trained to know how to handle it. So I want to say to our women, men, mothers, fathers, grandfathers, brothers and sisters who have lost their loved ones to police brutality, help is on the way. I am and I will be the leader that would not be afraid to address this issue. I am not afraid that the police department I'm not going to vote for her. But I want to say to the police department, I work with you all. I believe in you all. And I know that you can do a better job. You need training. And I will, as the President of the United States, appropriate $50 billion to go to these states to make sure that our officers are being well trained. Because this thing, I fear for my life, you're going to be trained to not fear for your life. There won't be no shoot first, because it's not necessary. You won't be able to be intimidated by a cell phone that's in somebody's hands and say, I fear for my freaking damn life, and you're going to shoot them. No. You're going to be trained, well trained, by sending you all to D.C. to work with those officers, because they are good.
Well, thank you for coming, Rosalind, Greene. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us and being with us this historic day for us. It's our first press conference that we are hosting. You're on your campaign trail, so I know it's tiresome, and I know that you have to put a lot of energy. So I appreciate your stopping and being with us on these important issues that is hurting our community. And you and I talked several times about disparities and the disconnect that is going on in our community. So I appreciate your visit with us today.
Thank you for inviting me to come. it's a pleasure being here. And I mean, I couldn't think of no other place I want to be coming here to addressing this issue. And thank you all for being the community leaders that's addressing this. And I want to say, without you all addressing this, the women that's been killed, the missing, they won't have a voice. You are the voice. And I'm definitely, elected president, will be the biggest voice that they're going to have. I guarantee you that.
Amen. Guarantee. Wonderful. Well, I just want to ask a couple questions so the viewers can hear a lot of your policies that me, you and I had conversations on before we went on. It's very interesting, intriguing. And we were discussing a variety of things. So, for time's sake, because we have the room just limited time left, so I'm going to try to get you in as quickly as I can. Well, one of the issues I want to talk to you about is the climate change and global warming and how the society now has left the Paris Agreement that was unanimously of all countries around the world who stood with this policy. Indeed, the scientists have proven on the case study that we have a problem when it comes to global warming, and it's man-made, and fossil fuels are out there clogging up the ozones, and you see the weather changes. Like right now, we had coats on, in summer. It's not unheard of in Chicago. Usually we're out here running with shorts on and tank tops, but we got winter clothes on still. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions about what is a question. What is your policy concerning global warming?
Well, let me start off by saying, I remember, I think it was back in 1996. I think those are very good questions that you just asked about climate change. And I'm a believer of climate change, and I'm a believer of global warming. There's nothing fake about that, so let me make it very clear. So I've been back, I think back in 1996, when I was in college. I was in the public policy program. And I remember my first policy paper that it was on global warming and health-related issues, what we think the future's going to look like. And one of my concerns about with this global warming, about a lot of health-related issues that you see that in the tropical areas, now they're in the United States, malaria and all those issues there in the United States. And that was back in 1996. And sure enough, we're dealing with these problems today. And I also want to address, because of this and my background in the healthcare over 30 years, when it comes to dealing with human lives, I take it very serious because that's what I do. I do it on a daily basis. That's been my mission, my calling. And so when something's impacting our environment, that's impacting our health, it's a serious. And for any politician to dismiss it as if it's not serious, then it's time for them to leave. It really is. So I want to, because of that, I have a $10 trillion policy that my goal is to bring us green by 2030. I don't think 2050 is the deadline, but mine is my aggressive rapid charge investment of $10 trillion is to bring America green, energy free by year 2030, and working with all of the communities, especially the African American communities and underserved communities with jobs and that.
Okay, very good. Okay. You see the playing field. You see the many candidates coming up now, popping up everywhere. You see now they're having their first debate within weeks or so, and I think the playing field is very, very competitive. Tell our viewers what makes you stand out of all those candidates. What makes you be the one that America and those who are watching will want to put trust in you? What is it about you that stands out?
Thank you. That is a very, very good question, too. That's a lot of good questions, by the way. What makes me stand out from the rest of the candidates is that, first of all, I want to say that healthcare is a big issue with America. That's one of the number one on the agenda, as well as climate change. And I can offer American people, I come with over 30 years of healthcare experience. I've been in the industry since I was 18 years old. I got my degrees in healthcare, I've been in the military healthcare system as a healthcare provider, a nurse for 9 years, so I know the military system as well as the civilian system. So if America is looking for the best candidate for the job to reform our healthcare, to make it a healthcare that we all deserve, I am the candidate, and I'm the only candidate with over 30 years in the healthcare industry. And I'm also a candidate with veteran experience as well. Over 9 years active duty military, the Air Force, as well as the Army. As I stand out from those candidates. And I want to also say to the American people is that you don't hear my name mentioned on CNN. You don't hear my name mentioned on MSNBC, because it's not because I'm not qualified for the job. I am qualified for the job. And if I wasn't qualified and didn't think I could do the job, I would not be running for the President of the United States. So, and I want to say, don't get caught up in this pay-to-play lineup of candidates and miss out on your opportunity of selecting the right leader for the job. Because I am the leader and will be the leader that will work for your vote. And if you cannot get what you want for your vote in your future and your American dream and the future that you want, then do not give your vote up to that candidate.
Okay. You see in our community jobs come and go. You see them, companies closing. You got a mother of 5 kids, and she's paid check to paycheck. And she may not have a check because the job is closing out and she's losing income. What program or what would you do in your policies to bring those jobs back to the community?
That's a good question too. Well, it depends on the job that left the community. For whatever reason, go overseas, they can stay overseas. Because I would not be giving them a penny to stay here. Because I would utilize those funds to put in that community so they can bring a business in their community. And part of that would be agreement that you would not move your job overseas, this job overseas, because it's going to be funded by the taxpayers. That's number one. So to give these billions and billions of dollars to these companies who want to go overseas, they can go. Because I am, as the President of the United States, have programs for that. I have a program for the 21st Century Revolution, One America for All American plan, where I would be appropriating $50 billion for over 10 years to the American people who wants to bring in business to their communities, who want to expand business for their communities. Because we know right now, you cannot go to a bank and get money, funding to start your business. You can't go to mom and dad to get $1 million, like some people said they got their first $1 million, which was way over $300 million that they got from the father. We cannot do that, especially in the black community. But you will be able to do it under my plan. You cannot go to investors to get money for your American dream, your great ideals. So for that woman who may have lost her job with the 5 kids, if she has a ideal or her own business she wants to start, guess what? She will be able to go and get the funding to do that. Maybe it's her time to start working for herself. Not, just working from paycheck to paycheck, working 3 jobs and you cannot be for your kids. It's time for a change.
And that's what you come from.
It is time for a change. And part of the funding that will come from my program, the taxpayers investing to taxpayers, see, we have the money to start our own business. We have the money to make our American dreams become reality. It's our money, our taxpayer money. We can take our taxpayer money, the elected officials can take our taxpayer money. They can do all this stuff with our taxpayer money. But what they won't do, they will not bail out you. They will not bail out the American people. Guess what? It is time for us to be bailed out. And I will bail out the American people.
Okay. Around the world, you see polls being cast, and the current administration is below less than 30% in ratings. What does a Rosalind Greene administration look like to the world?
The Rosalind Greene administration look like to the world is going to be a wonderful administration, because guess what? The American people are going to be involved in the administration. You know, I'm going to say, I've been asked this question so many times. What about your husband? I mean, how are you going to be going to the White House without a husband? And you know what I tell them? Oh, I have 100. I have 50 first men and 50 first women from each state. 2 from each state, a Republican and a Democrat, and as well an independent. They're going to be my first man and my first woman. And reason why it's going to be 100? Because it's going to take 100 of us to clean up this mess. It's going to take 100 of us to unite America the way I want America to be united as one America for all Americans and for all people. No president can do this job alone, even with one first woman or one first man. American people, they want something for their vote. Because if I cannot be in your state to go to a funeral, if I cannot be in your state when you need me, guess what? One of my husbands or one of my wives will be able to be present.
Amen. When we look at the rise in the last 2.5 years, hate has risen well over 17% since this current administration has taken office. You see the rise in anti-Semitic, me being a Jewish, and the Jewish communities out there. You've seen synagogues being shot up. You've seen mosques being shot up. And you've seen swastikas on tombstones and vandalism in synagogues and that sort. What would you say to those people of the Jewish faith? Because they need a commander-in-chief that will look after them. What would you say to them when it comes to the hate that has risen? And what would you do?
First of all, I want to say thank you. That's another good question. And second of all, I want to say I'm so sorry of what's going on in your community, in your culture. It's sad, and we should not have to be dealing with that in the United States or even around the world. Third of all, I want to say the dictator, the wannabe dictator that we have, the so-called illegitimate nut job that we have in the White House, when he incites that, and he's part of it, that's why people are so comfortable going, killing. That's why you see a rise in the hate crime when you have a dictator who's promoting it. You know, when you only know how to go to those websites that incites this type of violence, and that's what gravitates you as a leader, those things don't bother you. It actually turns you on to kill and to hate other groups. And I want to make very clear, under my administration, because I don't see color. I see all people as one America. That's why my slogan is one America for all Americans and non-Americans. You come to the United States and you embrace America as your home, then you are my people. We are one people. So for all these hate crimes, I will have a zero tolerance policy. And I will work with our legal, local laws, and we will bring a stop to it. And if you feel that it's okay to hate, you keep it to yourself. But when you start imposing that up on others and killing others, there's a price to pay. And I'm not just saying this, I'm not just talking. I'm very real. When you're in the healthcare field and you take care of lives, you save people, and you let them die in dignity when it's time, it's very personal. Because when you take a life or you mistreat somebody because of their race, because who they are and where they come from, you got a problem. And then you know what about the problem we have and with this administration, it's all about this make America great. Let me say something. America is already great. America is great. We just need to clean America up. Because we are the greatest country in the world. If anybody tell you different, then they're lying. And for this make America great, all it means is that I want a white America. Let me say something very clear. There never was, and there never will be, a white America. So if any leader that's running for this job tells you or misleads you to say that I'm going to get rid of all these brown people, like these concentration camps that's going on the borders, you know, trying to get rid of the Mexican population in the most cruel way possible, I'm not going to tolerate it in my administration. And there will never be, and I want to say it again, ever be a white America. It never was, and it never will be. We are one, and one people, and one America.
Okay. I'd like to turn the page on, when it comes to communities in Chicago, for example. We're in Chicago right now, by the way. When I drive downtown Chicago, I look at the Manus Mile. It's beautiful. It has the landscaping. It has the potteries. It looks like the lifestyles in which are famous. It looks like Hollywood. It just looks like the Riverwalk is all beautiful, all imported wood and imported brick and all that stuff. But when you go into the people of color's neighborhood, it looks like the third world country. It looks like boarded up buildings. You see glass all over the place. You see garbage all over the place. I take photos and just, it's just, to me, this looks like that they're forced to live in those conditions. Under your administration, what would you do differently?
Well, what I would do different, that's a good question, because I come from one of those communities, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And when I go home, I see that. The community that I grew up in,